Yo, yo, yo. What's up, guys? Welcome to the live stream. I'm Ellip from Creative Sound. So, in this live video stream series, I don't know, it may turn into a series, but that just depends on how this one goes. We are focusing on teaching the newbies. I've gotten so many questions about how to do this and how to do that, and so many people are still buying the machine, and so many people are waiting for the machine. There are some people who has the machine and have not cracked it open yet because they don't really fully understand it. When they look at it, it's complicated. It's like, whoa, like how do I navigate around this thing? So it's definitely a learning curve. So in this live series, it's set up for you guys to ask me questions on the spot. We're going to go and make a beat live, and I'm going to show you guys some things around. So I have the MK3 in front of me right now. I have my Maschine Studio in the background. It's not connected right now, but I can still look at it in reference to it because I know some of you guys still have the Maschine Studio, right? The workflow between the both is the same. Is not much of a difference. It's just a few things on the MK3 that the Maschine Studio don't have, and obviously the Maschine Studio have some things on it that the MK3 no longer has, and it's just really preference. The question I get a lot is, should I upgrade? If I already have a machine, should I upgrade? I say it just really depends on who you are and what you're trying to achieve. It depends on your workflow. If you're someone like heavy into beat making, then I'll say, if you have the Maschine Studio, you good. You know, you don't necessarily have to upgrade to this unless you seen a lot of videos or you've seen me a lot working in the MK3 and you like what I'm doing and you like what's on the actual device, then yeah, you can upgrade. But if you just someone who's just like the way it looks and you like the colors, or just, it just seems more appealing, I say it's not worth it to upgrade. But if you have the funds to do so, then you can go ahead and do that if that's what you want to do. The links to this video or the products that I like to use is in the description area. So if you want to purchase the MK3, you could definitely go through that link and poke around and see what I got going on. But anyway, we're gonna just dive in. So I'm gonna be like looking back and forth at the comments, and I'll just show you some basic things. So welcome to the stream, BMW. What's up? My question: routing individual machine sounds to individual channels in Ableton Live. Okay, that's a good question. I don't have Ableton Live, but it's the same inside of any DAW in terms of routing, and I can get into that a little later. I have a video showing how to route your individual sounds. So yes, the machine can route to your individual sounds in whatever DAW you're using, whether it's Studio One, Ableton Live, Logic, Cubase, Reason, right? It don't matter what you're using. You could definitely achieve that in here. It's a little funky because I have to route this to do this live stream, but I can show that at a later date because I will need to like load up my DAW and load Maschine in it, and the routing is a little funky right now. So but that's a good question. I'll definitely keep that in mind. I'll work on that. So anyway, so first things first, just to a brief like overview of the machine. So basically we have so the MK3, right? It's small form factor. It can fit in your backpack, right? you have two buttons here at the top. We just start at the top, and it skews all of the wire and stuff. I thought I'd crop my video or whatever, but anyway, um, so MIDI channel, you can go between MIDI channel and plug in. So this is where you get all your plugins, your instruments and things. Well, the routing and stuff like that, or your samples or whatever. Just plug in bass, and then over here, the MIDI channels. This is due to the actual routing, right? So plug in, and then your routing or whatever. So a lot of times I'm hanging over here in the plugin section. This is where all my samples and things like that. Then, so if we go down below is our arranger. We could look at arranger. Native Instruments did something different. This was like, I didn't even know that exists, but this is the way that view looked at one point. This is all that it did. So I can switch between ideas view and song. And this is how you kind of get a bird eye view on like what's going on. And we'll get started with making the beat pretty soon. Here's your mixer. So there's a mixer. You can mix on site. The way you switch between your groups and your individual sounds is you hit the down or the up. Down and up, actually. So if you're making the beat and you just so happen to be like for instance, right here, I have 4 groups that is activated right now, right? 4 groups that I have, and you trying to get to the sounds on the pad. Well, that's how you navigate. You have to like hit, this thing actually goes up and down. Like if you like that, that's how you get to your individual sounds. And it only loads up 8 sounds at a time. So 1, 2, 3, 4 in the first screen, another 4 in the second screen. And then you have to do something like this, hit on the 9th pad or any pad in the upper 8 up here. So you got these 2 that will show all 8 of the bottoms, and then you got the next 2. So it only show either this or that at a time. Or you can do like this, or like you can definitely like toggle between back and forth. You don't even have to hit a pad if you just so choose to do that. You can also like go between different groups just by clicking. I'm sorry, not clicking up there. Never mind that. But of course, the different groups is like up and down, like I just showed you. This is how you get to your different groups. This actually up here, like at the top, actually shows you what group you are on currently. So if I go down here and select my different groups, this is how you select your groups, and it tells you, it lets you know what's going on up here, and the light or the LED light will be lit up a little bit brighter than the rest of them, indicating what group you're on. You can't really see that on camera. So for those of you guys that are looking forward to buying this, I would try to explain it the best way I can, because if you don't have this in front of you, you kind of won't really know what's going on. All right, so moving along. I want to show you this as well. So like some of you guys that wanted to get into like panning, like left and right, that type of thing, you actually have to click down on it, and it actually pans left and right. You can, pan like that, or you can use the knob just below the screen and, access your panning. The other thing is, just know that anytime you're navigating around the machine, in order to slow things down or to go like in decimals, so to speak, you have to hit your shift button, and it slows things down so that you can like zone in or hone in on like one by one. Because if you don't, things will just jump, and that goes for like finding the tempo, things like that. And things can be like crazy. Let's say, for instance, like you using the tap to tempo, you may tap the tempo like 90.35. You know what I mean? And the rule of thumb when you're doing music is to have like absolute numbers or whole numbers, like 90, not 90.53. So in order to do that is you have to be in tempo, of course. And like I say, you really can't see what's going on here, but like I can you have to be make sure that your tempo is selected. And on the Machine Studio, on the Machine Studio, I've sort of forgot where you go. I have to plug it up, and that's how I know. But basically, I want to say it's when you hit tap is how you get to the tempo. So you got to hold down tap. If I can remember correctly, I'll have to plug it up or whatever. You guys can check that out and see if that's how you can manipulate the tempo or whatnot. I can't remember off the top of my head how to do that on the studio. But anyway, so that's how that works. And the other thing I'll say is you definitely want to like pay attention. Like when you loading sounds, you want to pay attention to if you are in group mode or if you are in sound mode. Because if you got a groove going on, you can mistakenly load on a whole group of things onto a group and replace everything you did. Now, luckily, we have the undo button, which is shift undo. So that's the next thing I want to say. So there's a lot of buttons and stuff on here, and there's a lot of words and things. And there's also words on top of the pads. And then you have like bold letters, like events, patterns, scenes, variation, but the words underneath it are shift functions, just as well as the words on the actual pad. Those are shift functions. So you can hit a pad or whatever, do what you have to do. If you need to like go octave up, octave down, copy, paste, nudge, back and forth, quantize, clear something, you have to hit shift first, and then these buttons turn into the second functions. So just keep that in mind, as well as the transport and wherever you see that on it. But the ones that are dedicated, you have like pad mode, keyboard, chords. This is how you get your chords. So if you are someone like me that doesn't play the piano, you can access your chords that way, and then you can go into arpeggiator mode and all that stuff. So we're just gonna go one by one. We're gonna create a beat, and I'm kind of show you the process. That way, it makes it simpler. Like, it's more like let's do it together, and that's how it sticks better. So anyway, you have the volume, the swing, tempo, like I just discussed. Your note repeat. This is your arpeggiator window as well. The other thing you could do is lock pages in. So let me see if I can go to one that's not locked in. Okay, for instance, like this navigator, right? So you can either set your windows. If you spending a lot of time in the window, you can actually lock that in place. And usually the way to lock that in place is if you go to the top left on this screen and it locks it in place. And so now it's just a toggle by pressing the button. So I could turn that off, and now it becomes, just by touch. So a lot of these I don't have it to hold the screen because I'm not in there for a long time. I just hold this down. If I want to solo, I can solo a group, or I can solo a sound, or either or. I was in mute, but they work the same. All right, so let's go to the process of creating a beat. Oh, just before we get there, you have pitch, modular, perform effects, which is pretty cool. Perform effects only works on group, right? And basically, the way perform effects works is that it's effects that you can put on, like you can create a scratching or a stutter or a phaser sound or whatever the case might be. You can do that with this button. but you can't do it on an individual sound. I'm not sure that's going to be something that they change in the future, but you can't perform that on an individual sound, right? It has to be on a group. So you just have to make sure that you on a group. So it's very important that you have like your like when you're creating groups, say you start selecting sounds, which we do here in a second. What I like to do when creating on this thing, I think about each group in terms of like organization. Like group A might be my drums, group B might be my, I don't know, maybe my bass lines or whatever, if I'm doing several bass lines, or group C might be all of my samples, like the samples that's dominating the track, like, a guitar riff or something like that. I may have a dedicated group for just that. I may have like maybe group D for like my effects, like just different things that's flying in, just making the beat sweet or whatever. Because if you get into the point where you want to start adding effects and different things, you like if you want the drums to drop out, you can do that at group level instead of going to individual sounds, if that makes sense. So you want to keep that in mind. So if you creating drums and you got your bass line and samples and your keyboard chords, whatever, all in the same group, that's kind of, I mean, you could do that, but that, it kind of makes things a little bit difficult, because when you start getting, advancing in what you're really trying to do as far as like making your beat interesting, you're gonna wish you separated everything. So I separate the key work from the strings and like, yeah, that type of thing. So okay, the next section is we're gonna go ahead and just start something. And if I am going too fast, please y'all stop me, let me know. Now I'm looking at the comments, I'm seeing what you guys are talking. JB's, what's up? BMW, explain the different types of sampling, sync, detect, etc. Um, loop. Okay. All right. So that's a good question, because that leads into us creating the beat. So, um, first and foremost, if you guys like, okay, where do you get sounds? You can get them from nativeinstruments.com as usual, right? They drop it into your account. And then if you have native access set up, you have to make sure, oh, let me show you this. This is probably very important. Like if you really like just getting started, you might want to pay attention to where things are going. Let me see if I can load up native access, because I get this question a lot too. So with native access, you have, like, if you go to preference, you have 3 different location slots. You click here, preference, and this is very important. So in here, your download locations, and this is where like all of your sounds and kits and packs are downloaded from native access. You have to give it a name. And me, like, the rule of thumb, my suggestion is that you guys pick a uh, a location on a external drive. You want to get an external drive. The rule of thumb is to get an external drive that can handle, I say, 7,200 RPMs, which is the speed of a drive, or you can grab an SSD. I don't think it necessarily matters how big the drive is. I have a 4 terabyte drive, um, but it makes a huge difference if you like doing recordings. That's the only thing. Recordings, like you recording vocals or like drums or stuff like that, and that would obviously would be done in a DAW. You know what I mean, like an actual DAW. But So it doesn't matter the size, the drive, the type of drive doesn't really matter. Like as long as it's 7,200 RPMs. I like Lacy brand. That's who I rock with. Um, or Glyph. Glyph is more expensive, but Lacy has been holding me down for a very long time. I have several of their drives, and none of them failed me. And I've been using like a single drive for a very long, like years. And the only reason I update or buy a new drive is because I'm like out of capacity, and I want to like keep all of my content or whatever that's on that drive. So I have this. Here's another thing. Like on the Native Instruments website, it will tell you that you need to have a specific folder for your download location and your content location. I'm gonna tell you right now, this is how I've been doing it for years. I have my download location and my content location. Both of these are in the same exact drive or location. So like on here, I have everything. Like these both folders hitting this because to me, like it works fine. All of my download locate everything in here, my content location, all in the same folder, and it doesn't create a duplicate of anything. It just puts the corresponding files where they're supposed to go with no problem. And I haven't had any problems or issues whatsoever. I just have one folder for that. So I say the first and third could be the same. Now the application location is supposed to live on your computer, which is where your applications. In my case, I'm on the Mac. It would be in the applications because your application has to live on the computer, but the content is should go on a external hard drive. That's very important because uh, even though you may have a computer that has a big drive, like it's never a good idea to stream the content on the same computer or the OS that the boot up system is running, and then you trying to run Maschine or any other things on your computer. Like all of that is like you working your drive, your internal drive more than you supposed to. So I use an external drive dedicated for my content. All right, so that's how that goes. And then like when you get updates or whatnot, and definitely make sure you update it, and it would update the files because everything is linked or whatever. And like for instance, like just recently I had to switch computers. It made it so much easier because I had all of my content on my drive. I didn't have to really like do much, So I'm good there. I just wanted to show y'all that because I get that question a lot. So once you buy a pack from Native Instruments, they're obviously like the serial like registers through Native Access, and it'll pop up in Native Access as like a new instrument or whatever, blah 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 blah. Right. Another way to do this, like to grab sounds, is if you actually go to sounds.com. Let me show y'all this. I'm just kind of giving y'all all the things I know I've gotten questions about. So if you go to sounds.com, you create a sound account here, you can it's a monthly fee, of course, but the way that it's set up is pretty unique. Like I like the way that they set it up. So you set this up and like you get like so many sounds per month, right? Depending on the plan you have. And then you go in here and the sounds that's coming from here is dope. Like there's no lack as far as quality whatsoever. This site is what allows other sound designers and creative people who have dope sounds or whatever to upload the site with packs and sample packs and loops and things like that. And we can go in here and say we like something, I don't know. I can press on that. It's probably not going to play because I don't have my computer set up to play out from the computer. But basically, you go here and, okay, say you like that, for instance. And you go in here and you can go here and select the sound that you like. You can actually shop for individual sounds. or you could just download the entire thing. And if you decide to do that, what you could do is you can either download it straight from the browser to a location on your drive or your computer, or you can drop it straight into the in-app apps. In-app apps actually drops it onto your computer, right? And then once it does that, it automatically updates your machine. Meaning I don't have to go in, like if I was to do it the browser way, I'll have to drop it somewhere and then go to those files and drop sounds to a pad or whatever. But in this case, I don't have to do that because I went here. And so the next time I visit my browser on my machine, right, I'll see that pack or those sounds that I made. Like I can actually make folders in here, customized folders, which is really cool. And then I can go in here and like just play with the sounds and go ahead and start creating. I've done that several times. I have several folders I've created. I got where is it? Like my library here, I created one for guitars. I got piano loops. I got one that I call abstract drums, like my individual folders that I made, to like whatever. And then I have actual packs because I downloaded the entire packs of some of them, right? So that's pretty much how that goes. And like this account, it alerts you, blah 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 blah, right? It's self-explanatory, but I just thought that was cool because it's like, man, this is a really cool, quick, fast way of getting your sounds. And I appreciate the thumbs up. I forgot to tell y'all that. Y'all, I see y'all already on it. I see the thumbs coming up. I appreciate that. So if you haven't liked the video, give me thumbs up. If you're a beginner, definitely give me thumbs up. If you got a question, let me know what you got going on. So let's visit the questions and see what's going on. So I'm gonna get out of here. All right. Let me scroll up. I got a 2 terabyte and a 1 terabyte. What about Seagate external hard drive? Seagate is pretty good. That's a good name. It's been around for a long time. Yeah, I'll rock with them. So what's good with everybody? What's good? All of the new people coming in. I'm seeing new people. That's what's up. How you guys doing? I hope you guys are doing well and staying safe out here. Do you use the same thing with Studio One content on external hard drive? Absolutely. Absolutely. My external drive right here, I have with all of my loops, all of my samples, everything coming from Native Instruments is on this external. Everything from Studio One is on this external. Anything from Logic is on the external. The thing with Logic is you got to trick Logic to thinking that it's coming from the internal, and you got to create a archive. What is it? I can't remember what you call it, but you gotta fool it to think it's coming off because it only talks to your internal. But like you can reroute it internally to your hard drive, and that's what I did with and I can't remember the term. But anyway, that's what I did. So yeah. BMW, absolutely. It keeps the application running smooth. That's the whole point. Because once you fill your computer up close to capacity is when your computer starts to lag or slow down, and you start noticing like, so if you have a slow machine, even the older machines, it's not the fact that your machine is older, it's just the fact that you may have a lot of files on your computer. Movies are huge files, audio are huge files depending, but it can be huge, especially if it's WAV files. Those are huge files, and your computer will slow down because of all of that on there. So just keep that in mind. Grab an external drive. Like I say, 7,200 RPMs is fast enough for it to surface. Some things may take longer than others because again, the bigger your drive is, the longer it takes for your drive to like it has to like search the entire volume, and so keep that in mind as well. But for this type of thing, it should work fine. I have all of my projects on my external drive with no problem. Like that's just how I do it. And sometimes I have another drive. I may have 2 or 3 drives connected to my computer, pulling from different places, doing different things, just depending on what I'm doing. All right. So let's get into this beat here. Let's create something, and I'm gonna do my best to like explain everything because I know my camera is not that great. So what I do is I use loops. Absolutely. And I create around it. So for instance, I'm gonna do my preview is not routed. So I'll just load the sound to a pad just so y'all can hear what's going on, because I'm the only one that can hear it right now and you guys can't. So I'm gonna try to like, so just keep that in mind. Like if you can't hear something, it's because it's not routed like initially. All right. So if you could just look at the screen, I'm gonna try to keep you updated on what's going on. So looking at the screen, you can search for everything you want over here. Like if you just click on here, like this little area right here, this is how you see like all your packs, just in case you was wondering. But anyway, so for instance, let me get out of browse mode. Actually, I'm gonna start with that. I like that. I like that. So I already loaded it or whatever, but in case you didn't like it, you can scroll. And when you scrolling, this is something I shared with someone in what was it, yesterday's stream. He say that, with all the packs and things, do you ever get overwhelmed? Yes, I do get overwhelmed sometimes, because when you scroll through here, you're going to hear a lot of things that you like, right? When you hear things that you like, you can hit shift and hit set. And this will actually create it, or it'll put those, the things that you set or like in a favorite list. So anytime you go in here, anything that you liked or favorited, you will see a star next to it. And then at some point you can go back and find, say you have a lot of kits like me and you wonder like, oh man, what was some sounds that you can definitely get to that stuff a lot quicker. So when you browse, you can always go to, I'm sorry. So now okay, 1 second. Either my drive froze. Okay. Like I told you, when you got big drives, it sometimes takes time. Okay. So I can go in here and hit the start button, and I can see immediately the list of things I favorited, and I can get back to it. And I didn't favorite anything in here. So for instance, say I like that. So bam, if you can kind of see, so that's my favorites right there. So that's the easy way to get to things. If you was to load something in here like manually, if you was wondering how to get to that stuff, at any point, this is another point. If you add something in here manually, because you could do that, you have to hit user. That's the only way you'll see your library. Other than that, you're not gonna see it. It's not gonna pop up with everything else. So that's another thing. All right. So let me look. A lot of times these loops comes with tempos already. So this is at 140. Where am I? 120. And I'm thinking this one is there's 2 different samplers. So I'm about to go and answer that question that BMW asked me. So there's two different samplers. So like I say, if I click over here to plug in, I'm gonna go to my sounds, and right here I can see where my audio is. So the audio sampler is sort of new. It's been in here for a while, but it's newer. Like it used to only be samplers. So there's two different samplers. The audio sampler, or the audio, is your like your stretch engine. It actually like stretches to the tempo that you set. So even though I'm at 120 BPM and this sample is originally 140, it will still lock in place. Actually, I didn't have to put that there. By default, it actually puts it there, as you can see. So with the audio, I have to like, I can switch between loop or gate. I like to use gate in most cases because it's like, if you understand how a gate works, a gate is on and off, shut, close, shut, close. That's what a gate is, right? And in some instances, I may play it like, for instance, let's see. I'm gonna show you exactly what I'm talking about. So, right, I can play with when I want it to come in and out. So if you got a sample that you want to do that to, that's a quick way to do that, in and out. Now, if you are in loop, it's obviously gonna just loop over and over and over, right? And so when I inserted this in, it was a bit sloppy. So I'm gonna clean it up. I'm gonna bring that over like that. I'm gonna go to the end, clean that up, bring that to the edge. I'm gonna go like that, just kind of clean it up. I think that's what I want to do. Let's play that back. Right. So next, let's go and now again. So now that I'm going to the next group because I want to add drums. And while I'm in here, there is a difference between loops and samples. Sometimes loops will be like, it just depends on how you use them. You could definitely use a loop and chop it up. And that's a whole nother beast right there. You may find something that you want in the loop, like, oh, I want to use that, but I only want to use just a portion of it. I'm gonna see if I can get to that point. I'm gonna try to like cover all of my bases here. Okay, so now we in one shots, and I'm gonna go. Also, the cool thing here is like if you touch a knob, I don't know if you can see that. If you touch a knob, it kind of gives you your parameters. Like it shows you what's going on in there anyway. Like it's touch sensitive, right? It just depends on where you are. Like right there, I can see all how drums and percussion. And this is also supported on the Maschine Studio as well. So no worries there. I remember when they first introduced it, and I was like, man, this is amazing. So if I go create a bass or 808 or something. And again, I apologize, you guys can't hear that. Okay, I'm gonna go to another kit. So a lot of times in these kits, they will add 808s in there in the one shots. Let me see. Let me see. I'm trying to go somewhere where I know some 808s out. Okay, not there. A lot of times, like if I'm going for 808 and I hear a snare, I'll just go ahead and load it. Yeah, like right there. I'm gonna go ahead and load that snare. Recently, one of my viewers taught me where I can select, like if you in browse, like you can't select the pad. Like if you just like picking stuff, you have to hit select to select your next pad. So all this time I didn't know that. I always like when I came out of browse and select my next pad like that, and then went back in. I just how I've been doing it. At one point it was different. I'll just select this one. That's fine for tutorial purposes. Okay, now listen to that. You see how that's like lapsing? Like if I go in keyboard mode, that's gonna sound nasty, right? So in order to fix that, you have to click on plugin instance, and it like kind of like this is like home for you, right? And you have different pages you can toggle between here if you are in the sampler. So a lot of times it just depends on what you are on. In this case, sampler is like it's kind of famous, especially for one shots. Sampler gives you different options and parameters. So in this case, where it says voice settings, it says polyphony. I usually set mine to legato, and here's why. Meaning that the previous note cancels out. It's like a what you call it, like a choke. I think Studio One calls it choke. So right, and that's how you do that there. And you also have glide. You can glide into a note. That's something that's commonly used. So I'm gonna turn it off right now. And then you have your pitch bend. I usually turn my pitch bend all the way up to 12 because I can like I hope y'all following me. So I can hit the pitch button here. So that's what this touch strip is, or I can use the pitch bend on my keyboard. Right? But if I leave it at 3, like default, like if you're trying to get into stuff like that, then you're not gonna be able to. It's just gonna go so far. That's as far as it goes. Right, so I turn my pitch bend all the way up just so I can have that like a bigger wide span to control my pitch there. So the other pages, the cool thing about this is you can also change the engine, which is like you can change how it sounds. You're not gonna. Well, you can hear a difference there. Like it just sounds like a static sound. You probably not going for that. But if you're doing like boom bap or like lo-fi style music, things like that, you want to sound a little dirty. That knob gives you the option to make this thing sound like it's coming from the MPC. So you kind of have the best of both worlds. Like if you one of those people who just MPC die hard, like because you like the way it sound, well you can get that sound in Machine. And that's kind of one of the reasons why I bought this thing. Like got into the ecosystem because it's like, oh man, I can still get that sound. All right, so the next page is where things get interesting. You have your pitch and your gate. You can also control the start. Remember what I was saying? Like you can, like if you was to go into loops and you just want a section, you can change where it starts. You can do it that way. There's another way I can show you that involves truncating it. If you're in the sample page, this is the sample page, by the way. Like I can go in and like do some editing to my sound. That's the other button, and I can slice things up. This is how we get into sampling. So say like I had a sample, like a I don't know, something, and I could just chop it in place. And I know I'm all over the place. I'm just trying to get to everything. So uh this thing can auto detect as well. You know what? I'm gonna wait till I get to that part. Let's wait till we get to that part. Also, if you got things just like you got a bunch of things going on, like you pressing things and you wondering why it's playing, like the the safety is hitting shift and mute. Shift mute, or actually it's when you hit shift, this button becomes choke. So it means that it quickly turns it off. In case you guys was wondering, like if you in browser, like something just keep continuously playing. Oh well, can't show you that because you can't hear it. But yeah, that's the whole point. Shift mute. That's like safety. Like anything that's going on and on and on and on is like, because sometimes you get long samples and it's like it never stops, and you just hit shift mute and you good, right? That's something I've learned like years ago. Um, so let's go to keyboard. Fixed velocity, which means that it locks in the certain velocity value in every time you hit the note. So I'm gonna set my velocity level to 127 by default. I don't know why it does that. It stops at 122, I think, and I think that's group based. Oh yeah, so like each group you have to turn that up, and you can activate that if you hit pad mode or a keyboard or chords, I believe. Yeah, it's there. Fixed velocity. You could change your fixed velocity, and it works for the entire group. Just in case you guys was wondering, like, how is it not hitting that hard or whatever, you can achieve that just by like toggling over to the pages or whatever. The other cool thing is now we get into some update stuff. I could change the color, and that doesn't really matter right now, but just to show you for just giggles or whatever. You know, whatever, right? Or you could change the group. That's how you easily change groups, because we usually have to do it inside the software. So, all right. All right. So I'm dealing with lagging issues or whatever, but that's fine because it allows me to show you some other things. So you could definitely go in here and move stuff around in the software, or you can move stuff around in your grid area or events. So I don't know if you guys can see that. So on the machine, I'm like moving between the different notes, which means I can grab a note, and then the functions on the pad becomes useful because now I can say shift, nudge, right? And that's a way to do that. Or I could say, like, what I want to do is shift, copy, and what I want to do is bring my cursor all the way here, and I'll say paste, because my first note did not record. So now I'm gonna nudge this back. Boom. So okay, let's fix that. Let's nudge that over. And I'm gonna go to this note right here. Actually, the next note, I'm gonna clear that. Shift, clear. All right. I'm gonna nudge this over, like right there. Let's get rid of this one. Actually, I want to bring that one back and just nudge it over. Like right there. That's probably better. But I thought I did that. The thought is saved. So I can do this, hit the record, or I can hit step. I'm hit follow in my case. So it's several ways you can achieve the same thing on this thing. Like I don't even have to hit record. Like if you understand how to step sequence things in, you can do it that way as well. Hit the follow. The follow actually follow because we only have 16 pads to work on. If you was using the Machine Jam, of course you have a bigger, you have more buttons on there where you can see a whole lot better. Your real estate is a lot bigger. So I'm gonna get out of there. The cool thing about this is you can keep things rolling. I can go to browse. And just keep loading. Just go to mixer, bring that down. I know this is gonna be off. Bring that back. So now here's where the fun comes in. I can also adjust the volume by holding this down. I don't have to go to mixer. I can just hit the volume here. Just bring it down real quick. This won't affect the entire volume, but this is a quick way to like adjust your volume real quick. I'm gonna adjust my my resolution. I gotta fix the very first note. Let's get that one out of there. Now, how you get that pitch in your hi-hat? First, you got to go back, do the same thing we did to the kick, right? Or the 808, and turn your pitch bend all the way up so that we can get that wide, that pitch, you know. That's how we do that, right? I'm gonna change the pitch to that one. Now, say I like that pitch, but you do know we're dealing with samples, which means when you lower the pitch of something, the sample becomes longer. When you pitch it upward, it becomes shorter. Like that. In this case, I want the hi-hat to cut off. I don't want it to be like I want it to cut off at a certain point. So this is where I go in and change the type from one shot to ADSR or HD. If I want to fix, I can fix it. Like that. Like just cut off and be done with it. Or the next one, the ADSR, is based on how long you select something like this. Let me see. Right? So if I'm into like feeling it and I want to be able to cut off about me touching it, that's how I'll do that. But in this case, I just wanted to cut off like at a certain point, period. Right there. All right, let's look at the comments. I see y'all in here. I appreciate y'all hanging out. What's good, low ends? J Beats and Waves. Scrub Master, what's up? Do you do the same thing with Studio One? Oh, I already answered that one. BMW, thanks for that. Seagate is good, but try to get an SSD drive. 2 terabyte is cheap now. Absolutely. You can get drives cheap these days. Yep, external drive is always advised, just in case your computer dies. Absolutely. Absolutely. Adam, what's up? Loving the auto length. Yep, I am too. This is cool. Do I use free loops? I used to. But when you get free loops, you want to be clear. Oh, any loops for that matter, because you can definitely buy some loops and it comes with limitations, but you definitely want to make sure you get, if you're using any loops, make sure that they are royalty free. Make sure that they are royalty free. You do not want to get in trouble in case you blow up like these. You know, YouTube is one of those places where people blow up, and you could have just did a beat just to get your numbers up, and then, you know, a rapper want to use your beat and y'all blow up, and now you get a lawsuit because you using samples that you didn't get cleared. So you definitely want to make sure you do your homework before you start using any sample. Ben Park, what's up? Ben and Naomi, appreciate y'all checking in. Can you still chop when in audio and not sampler? No, you can't. You can't chop. Let me verify that. According to what I've tried to do, there was a limitation. Mute that one. Yep. You can't chop when in audio. Audio has very limited functions. So you need to be in sample. Are you able to use the NI keyboard to play the chops you made in Maschine, hardware or software? Yes, you can, because the keyboard is just a replica of what's going on in here. It definitely will talk. Like, that is the reason why I have them both. I use them both. Because what you could do in Maschine, you could do on the keyboard as well. Like, I can get to the... Okay, I can't get to the sample, but I can play the sample. Just like the ASR10. Absolutely. Absolutely. So the ASR10 is is definitely implemented in here. Like some of the same stuff you could do on the ASR10, you could do in here. Absolutely. I had a friend who owned one of those, and that is the reason why he liked it so much, because of what you could do, like how he was able to chop samples and things like that. Can you put it in sample and then chop it, then make it a audio? Again, I have never tried that before, and I have never had a reason to do that. But we could like analyze and just see like what's going on. I'll have to find a sample somewhere on my computer so we can just play with it, so I can show y'all that. But real quick before we get there, I just want to like, how do you get the kick to like go hard? Like, oh, let me show y'all that. So the rule of thumb is to pick a kick that's light. For instance, something like that. This might do. I may need to trim off the bottom end a little bit, but you just want something to just kind of hit the higher, like for instance, you can also adjust the filtering here. You could change your filter between high pass filter, your low pass. And I typically go between low pass and high pass. So in this instance, I'm gonna go for high pass and just change my cutoff. Like right there. Maybe right there. And you can also see like how this looks. Like if I was to go here, you can see exactly what's going on. See this? See how I'm cutting things off? So here we go. Keep missing the kick. There we go. I could probably give it a little bit more low end. Now, the reason why we do this is so that the 808 don't clash with the kick. So you do not want to pick a heavy kick to go on top of this, because you will clash. And that's how you get that dirty, that rubble in the bass. It's not clean. It's not precise. It's not, you know what I mean? It's not clean. It's probably the best way I can explain it. So pick a light kick, put it on top of it. And of course, since we're in creatives, like the first view, I believe this is creative ideas or ideas view. Yeah, I was looking at it crazy, like wait, what is going on? So because the other view was actually like putting things in song view. So like how do you get out of here, right? So we're gonna try to like build the song a little bit like longer, just like because a lot of you guys get stuck at 4 bars. So Obviously, we will add more sounds in here to make this more interesting, and we're gonna do that. So basically, what I did was created another. I just duplicated real quick, and it duplicated everything. And what it did was it created another scene, created another pattern for each group that I have, and it made it unique. Unique is a term inside a machine, right? So when it's unique, that means you take the same stuff and it creates the same duplicate, but you can adjust it and it won't affect the other scene or the other patterns. So basically, I could do stuff like this. So let's go back to the first scene. And I can make this like my, I don't know, intro, because I can start like deleting or erasing patterns. The easy way for me will be to hit this record. Make sure you're on the track you want, and it erase it for you. But of course, you got to start from the beginning though. 2, 3, 4. Right, and then if I want to erase this kick right here, or the 808, and walk away. Nah, I'm joking, but basically it's doing it for you. It erased it for you because you hit this erase button above it, and that's what this erase button is for. It's good for that. So now when I go to sing 2, so now this is a quick way to create a song. Hey Jim, what's up? Scrub Master, what's going on? Actually, I want to erase another way to do this is like hitting erase and all of the buttons or all of the pads, and it does the same exact thing. But actually, I don't want to do that. Let's put all that back, because I can use that section like in another section of the song. So I'm going to go here and duplicate that. And then I'm going to come back to this first one. I think it's the first one. No, it's not the first one. Now I can re-erase it. Wait. Yeah. So just hit it. As long as you hold down erase, right? Now, here's the thing. When you're doing this, things will get a little more complicated as you go, because if you have a bunch of scenes and you have a bunch of patterns, you will get confused as to what is doing what, right? I mean, scene 1, scene 2, scene 3, okay, yeah, blah, blah, blah. But what if you want to add scene 1 back into, like, when you get like 5 scenes down, you want to add scene 1 like after that. And that's where things get a little crazy. So I try to get in the habit of labeling my stuff. So this scene, I'll say intro. I'll say intro hats. Just, I don't know, I'm just giving it a name. And then here, I'll say the beat, right? That's kind of how I'll do that. So, because you can also see it reflect on the machine. So now you know where everything is. Okay, so my intro, my hats, right? So the beat, I'm going to duplicate that. And it's going to say 5, sing 5, but I can go ahead and just label it. I don't know, beat more. I don't know. Just give it something different that you can remember. So now I can go ahead and just add bells or whatever. Now it is easy to mess up here. So when you working fast, you want to definitely pay attention to what you're doing, because you can still be in scenes and thinking you are in patterns, and you start pressing buttons and be like, oh snap, because this is what's going to happen. Say you you can accidentally hit a pad, and then you'll be like selecting, like for instance, if I'm here in pattern, like I just created a pattern, like wait, how did I do that? You know what I mean? And it's like, oh, I'm in patterns, oh snap. So you just want to pay attention to where you are, like, and this is where locking the strings in place comes in. Like if you think that if you're not in patterns a lot, you want to turn patterns off, make it to where when you go to patterns, it's only there when you hold and press patterns and then come out. Sings the same way, but I tend to spend a lot of time in scenes, so it's locked. And the other thing is I can identify that I'm in scenes more so than I would in patterns, because pattern looks close to the pads, like if I'm editing on the pads itself. So let's go and add. I'm gonna pick a group and see where I want to add the bells or whatever. There's nothing on C1, so I can go there. I don't know if this will work. Sometimes you gotta try it, you know what I mean? Because you could change the key. So it's right now it's looping. So I'm gonna change it. You know, it really don't fit, but it could. I don't know. You turn it down. Sometimes when you turn things down, it sounds better. Something I learned. And stuff like that comes in play when you learn like music theory. It doesn't fit to me, but for the sake of the video, I'll just show y'all. Like I could change the tune of it and it still locks. And for the sake of it, since you guys asked me about sampling, so I can change this from the audio right now to sample, but keep in mind when you do that, it may change the timing. So I'm gonna change it to sampler. Well, it's not doing anything because definitely change the timing. But no problem there, because I can go to sample and say I want to work with this, right? If I want to get into like chopping stuff, just go to slice. Um, I can auto slice this. I don't want to create a you got to like pay attention to like what the settings are, because it will create a pattern for you, and I don't want it to create a pattern for me, so I'm gonna turn that off. But If it's on create pattern, you have more options: auto, manual, and those are some different things. But I don't want it to create a pattern, so I'm gonna just leave that off for right now. And right here is where we get things get interesting. You can detect, change the slicer from, like, it can detect. You can change the sensitivity, like if you wanted to really go in, or you can just back off on it. Zero crossing is on or off. You can control that. Say like you can get it to where it detects the best. Like you can look at the screen and see that it's doing what it's doing. And you can also go in and edit those points if you wanted to. I'm trying to remember where all of the point. Okay, so you can zoom in further. Like all of this control is on the machine. I'm controlling everything from the machine, and it's doing a good job of like zero crossing the points. Let's bring that back. You can zoom in as far as you need to, and you could change. Like, where is it? You could change the start point and the end point. So right now it's sliced into 8 pads. I just have to go to that pad, zoom in. I could probably adjust that a little bit. Make it start right there. About right there. It's good. Move to the end and see where it ends. Let's zoom out some. See, this is where I would adjust that there. I don't know if I want that. See, this one is too long. You can also delete. I want to remove that. I want to start that over. Let's remove that because there's a note that is missing. So, you know, that's right. That's right. That's right. So I need to come in and adjust this. Change the end on that. Zoom in a little more. Let's get this last one. Hit the split button. There's something lapping. You can always go to the computer and remove. I don't want to remove the sample. Let's erase that one. That's another way to do it. So now I can play. I can play however I want. Now, I had to append this somewhere. So say I want that one and hit apply. I'm going to say single. I'm going to append this down to pad 2. Because your first pad is your sample. Is where your sample lives. And so when you sample, you definitely want to like dedicate or I can go to a whole nother group. Like I can use this as my sample, like C is just what I'm, how I'm editing or whatever, and go to a whole nother group and like paste things down in there. You could do that as well. So I want this one. Let's apply that here. Let's pin that down to 4. Let's put that one right here. Actually, a lot of them are like repeating. I'll take that one and put that there. Put that one on 7. I don't know if I want that, but I'll take it. So now when I'm out of sample mode, I have individual notes that I chopped up. Let's remember I showed y'all how to get to group on here. I'm gonna like hit that button or this navigator because it rocks up, down, side to side. So I'm gonna turn the whole group down. And then my original sample lives here. Right? Shift mute, cut it off because the sample was playing, right? Y'all remember that? Let's go back. So now I could change the pitch. Another way to do this, I told y'all several ways to do this. So say for instance, I just want to use that pad. I can go to keyboard mode and access, or like the question that was asked, I'm using my keyboard. But keep in mind, you're playing with samples, meaning the higher pitch you are, the shorter it is. The lower, the longer. That sounds cool. I like that. Right? But since we chopped up everything, I might as well just use it the way, you know. Say I like the tone of this one right here. I can duplicate that and move that up here. See, it's just, I'm probably going too fast. And then I could change the pitch of that one specifically. All right, let's go to some of the questions and see what y'all talking about. If y'all got any questions, feel free to let me know. I'm trying to get to all of it. Jim Shannon, still a noob. That's what's up. That's why we here. I mean, I'm okay. You can loop on the fly. Yeah. What packet you using? I'm using some of everything from different places. I have something coming in from Pure Drip. I have a couple of drums coming from Pure Drip. I got the bells. It's coming from Pump Live Volume 2. And the sample itself is coming from, where is it? I forgot where the sample is, but I could find it easily. Now, this is another thing I can show you guys. If you are somewhere in here and you get lost, like you're trying to like find where things is, like for instance, where's that sample? Like that for instance. This is what this search button up here is for, or the search icon. It actually points it to where it comes from. So this is, well, it actually doesn't tell me the pack, but I can go to the next sample. But I know what pack this is from, though. So right now, it said lo-fi hip hop keys is what's selected now. And this is actually an easy way to change out kicks or whatever. Instead of going to browse, you can just go that route and change out a kick or whatever. But this is actually coming from Dagger. Actually does tell you where it is. So when you hit let me come out of here. Like when you hit that, when you start filling it and you go to browse, it puts you right there where it is. So yeah, it does tell you. You just have to click a couple buttons. So this is coming from the Dagger kit. And I got this from sounds.com. So say for instance that kick, once again, say like I don't know where that is coming from. I can hit this, scroll up, find another kick. Say what the heck, let me go in here and see what's going on. Hit browse, it takes me right there. Pure Drip. And then I can scroll from here. So yeah, I just forgot that. Like it, yeah. So there's an easy way to find where you are. So let's create a song. Let's right. Say we start with that. Now, if you guys are paying attention to the screen, you'll notice that we're in ideas view or creative view. Hint, creative culture, creative view. So there's this screen over here is where my sings are. This screen over here is where I can append and duplicate and do all types of other things, right? I can also change the color from here. I've never noticed that, but that's pretty cool. I never even paid attention to that. So anyway, I'm hit this button, append, so I can start creating my song real quick. So I want that to be first. And then I think I want the intro hats to come next after that. I think that's what I wanted. And then the beat come in after that. Maybe duplicate the beat and then bring in the beat more. Like you can hit it multiple times and it'll continue to put more and more of that. Maybe I want to go back to the intro and then go back to the beat. Duplicate that. Come back to the intro and then give me the beat more. Boom. It's a quick way of creating a song, right? I would say. So you have to shift scene. See, the scene has two functions. It has, when you go to scenes, the first thing you see is ideas view, right? If you shift scene, it takes you to the scene, like the song view. And as soon as I hit one of the scenes, then it'll go into the song mode, as you can see on the screen. And the other thing is you have to turn off the loop. Turn off loop and then it'll start playing the song. So obviously I made the intro go again twice, but that's not a problem because I can go here to intro and remove the intro on the machine. So here we go. Okay, so we didn't put bells there. I was waiting on the bells. So that's not a problem because I can quickly go here, turn on my loop again, and I can just loop that one section. Come out of scenes, go to where my bells are. It's not taking me where I want to go. I'll just create some. Oop. Whatever, right? Unloop that, and then it's gonna play out. And I duplicated these both, and as you can see, both of these pattern one, pattern four, pattern four. You know what I mean? If you loop them, if you duplicate them, and you don't hit unique, it's gonna be the same exact thing. So, for instance, like I can come out of this and do something different, like come out of this, like towards the edge, the end of it or whatever, and go into this intro right here. But I have to hit unique, and I'm gonna show you what's going on there. So I'm gonna go here, hit unique, and it sort of like duplicated everything and then put everything on its own pad or whatever. And so now I can make changes, because if I do something right here, guys, I would run the risk of changing both, if that makes sense. Like this can't say pattern 4 and then this say pattern 4. If I make a change here thinking I want to make a change at the edge of this, like do something different, like change, whatever, to do something different, just to indicate that I'm going into the next section of the song, this has to be different. It cannot be the same. You have to remember that. So what that said is, so like if I wanted to do, like, say, like I wanted to add a perform effects, and this is where perform effects come in. So I'm gonna come out of scenes right quick, and let's see, which one do I want to perform this on? As a matter of fact, I'm gonna loop that section. Okay, so group B, I'll do it to group B. I'll put a perform effects there. In order to grab perform effects, you have to hit shift, perform effect. It takes you to the perform effect window, and now I have filters that I can play with, and I can use this touch strip. Right? Let's see, what else we got? Right? So I want to do something like that. Let's hit record. I wonder if that's record or is it auto. We'll see. Okay, so in order to perform this effect, you have to hit auto. That's the only way this works. So it's not record, it's auto. So that's the thing with Maschine. It's like for some effects it's record, like automating stuff, but then auto is the auto button here is where it's kind of weird like that. But I'm gonna hit auto, hold it down, right? So let's get out of the loop. Show y'all how that will work. Right? And you can see the parameters here at the bottom. So if you want to like make an adjustment, you could definitely come down here and say you didn't want that effect to like you didn't want it right there. I'm trying to move it down. I don't think you can do that. I think Um, I have to write it in. So I'm gonna got to switch to your tool down here at the bottom. It's a pencil tool here, and then you got to take it off because if you don't, you'll make a mistake. And then I'm gonna turn it off. Say I just want it to affect right here in this area, and I can just click here and go like this. Oh, so there's another thing I want to explain. The play and the restart. The restart always go from the beginning of wherever you are. In this case, the beginning of the entire song. If I am in a loop, if I'm looped, it'll go to the beginning of the scene. But I want to click here, right in there, and I'm gonna hit play instead. I'm not going to hit restart. So it'll start right there. Right. BMW, is this going to be posted on your YouTube site? I got lost about 15 minutes ago. Yeah, all of these live videos are archived on the YouTube, so you can go back at any time to review what I said. But please feel free to like slow me down. Like, hey, Ella, like, could you blah blah blah? Show me that again. I have no problem with like going back. That's what this is for. So the thing is, guys, I will be lying to you if I told you that you can pick this up in one day. Maschine. This is the reason why I use Maschine, because Maschine is very powerful. I use it for music production, right? I use it to create beats, create quick beats, but I also use it for more advanced stuff. There are some limitations in here, of course. Some things I can't do that I would definitely use a DAW for more so, which is the reason why I use Studio One in that case. And then because I love Native Instruments, there are products I'll use this as a plugin inside of my DAW, which is a luxury of having the ability to do that. So I don't have to I don't have to choose which one I work in. I can use both of them. So that's what I mean by like the workflow is a little bit different. But once you understand the workflow, it makes it easy to combine them both. And it's pretty cool. It's pretty sweet. Like some things, like you can use Maschine just to rock out with drums only. I do that a lot. Like I'll use the drums inside a Maschine from the kits that I downloaded from sites or stuff I have on my hard drive somewhere, and do all of my other things in the DAW, because you can use some of the functions or the instruments and things like that, because you can use that inside of your DAW. For instance, Contact. Contact is a Native Instruments plugin where in there you have different instruments like pianos, organs, bass, vintage drums, e-pianos, other like strings, orchestral stuff, all types of things. There are a lot of companies that make instruments for Contact, like Output.com. I'm trying to think of some other ones, but there are a whole slew of them that make instruments for Contact, and it gives you like more that you can put in there and use that. And Contact is powerful because it offers routing techniques, or no, multi routing options inside there. That's a whole nother beast. That's a whole nother video right there. Like routing stuff from all of the instruments inside of your DAW and having an individual channel representing what you routed out. Like that's so, needless to say, getting into this ecosystem is a good place to be, because it's like there's room to grow, there's room to learn more and more. As your needs grow more, it's like you have everything you need, so to speak, right? It's like future proofing yourself. That's the best way I can put it. Future proofing yourself, because you're gonna get to a point where you're gonna need to do all these type of things. So if you're beginning, you're new to this, don't let this overwhelm you. Just tell me what you want to learn. I'll let you know what you want to learn. That's the reason why you should be subscribed to this channel, and you should hit thumbs up on this video. That's the whole reason why you should do that, because this is the only way you're gonna learn this stuff. And I had a couple of people who wanted, like, just beginners wanted to like know some things, so that's why I went live today. Um, can you do a video on contact routing and VST? Now I just talked about that. Yes, I can. I can do that. I have a video on that though. I've done one like a couple of years ago, and it's the same stuff. So I have touched on that. Uh, as a VST in Studio One, can you do everything you can do as standalone? Yes, you can. You absolutely can. You absolutely can. Everything I just showed you guys, you can do that inside of Studio One. The only thing that you can't do in Studio One is hit the play and stop. That's it. Play and stop on the machine, because the host took over that function. So now you're hitting spacebar at that point. Or if you have a supporting keyboard with DAW integration like this, the S49, then you can hit play and stop on the keyboard, but not on the machine. But in the keyboard, on the keyboard, you have to be in that DAW integration mode, which is fairly easy. It's just clicking a couple buttons. I haven't really mastered that part, but I know that if I hit instance and mixer or setup, any combination of them buttons, it goes back and forth. And I know that once I hit plug in, it goes and it now it's talking to machine if I have machine as a plug-in. But you could toggle back and forth between those two, and then have your play, record, your stop, your loop, changing tempo, or that type of stuff in here. So yeah, that's the reason why I rock out with this. So I do more than just use machine as machine. Like, I use machine as a plugin as well. So I'm kind of like a wide spectrum of knowledge as to how it works, even as a plugin. So you guys can ask me anything you want. If you're using any other DAWs like Ableton Live or whatever, I don't use Ableton Live, but most of your questions is easy. Like the one I had earlier, like how do you route in Ableton Live? If you understand how to route, like where to find your routing situations in there, then you can follow my routing technique. It's all the same, you know. All you have to do is go to whatever channel. But you know what? I do know that inside of Ableton Live it's a little bit different. I will say that. Yeah, the routing in there is a little bit different than it is in Studio One. Studio One is, in my opinion, is a little bit easier to me. I've seen how to do it in Ableton Live, and I was like, oh boy, that's interesting way of doing things. But in Bitwig is even easier. I like how I'm able to route stuff in Bitwig. Bitwig is totally easier to me. Bitwig follows the platform, like setup, the way things are set up in there, similar to Ableton Live, but it's still easier to me. Like, it's weird. Like, there's more in Bitwig than it is to me. Just to me, based on what I've seen. I have Ableton Live on my computer. I play with it a couple times, but I don't use it regularly. So, but Bitwig is routing in there is totally better. It's easier, in my opinion. But yeah, I can show you whatever you need to know. That's no problem. Can you drag and drop from Machine to Studio One and vice versa? Yes and no. And that depends on how you're set up. If you have Machine up as a standalone and Studio One as a standalone, I don't think you can drag. Actually, you can. I take that back. You can't drag from a pad if that's what you're saying. But there is a way in here, and like, I'm glad you asked that. So these buttons right here, trying to like if you can follow what. So this is MIDI. This is audio. If you hold down audio like that, you see this? I can drag this and drop this to anywhere. So you can do that. You can do that. Now the thing is, you depending on where you are, like if you are in this view, you're gonna grab the entire pattern, and it's gonna grab the like everything you put program here is gonna grab everything. But if you want just the individual sound, you have to go to keyboard mode. You have to be in here and then grab, hold this down, and as you can see, well, it don't tell you, it just says pattern. But this is how you grab things at the sound level. That's the only way you can do that. Or you can you can capture the MIDI. If say you for whatever reason you want the MIDI, you can take that, move that over. I do this sometimes in plug-in mode because it's kind of easier. I never have them both loaded at the same time because there's no reason. They CPU, right? Like there's no reason for me to have them both running at the same time. If I need them both, I just use it as a plug-in. Simple as that, right? So yeah, you could definitely drag and drop. Now, as far as like getting things on in a machine, you could definitely do that. Like you can grab the audio. Now, I don't know if you can grab the audio from. I have to try that. I don't know if you can grab the audio like out of the arranger. Like if it's an audio inside of Studio One, like click that and drag that on to machine. I want to say it works that way, but it might not work that way. But you can get around that. You can definitely grab that audio file from the browser section and drop it. You can drag whatever audio files from anywhere as long as it's wave, right? Machine likes waves. You can drop that on a pad any day. Drag and drop all day, no problem. I do that sometimes. Or you can just go to browser here, like go to your files and search for wherever your files are, and just drag on. Or if you press a file, it automatically loads. That's the other thing to keep in mind. Yeah. Yep. You got to be like, it depends on where you are. Like if you're in keyboard mode, if you want the sound, you got to go to that sound. And then that's how you do that. And then if you are not in that, you're gonna grab the entire pattern. So if you got a full drum pattern going, that's the way that works. Yep. You guys got any more questions? Just keep them coming. What do you think? What do y'all think about the new Ulterior V7 collection? I think it's great. I think it's great. Um, Ulterior definitely moved into a subscription based model. like everybody else. That's the only thing with that. Um, I had Tyria stuff. You know, paid one flat rate and got everything, and then they moved into a subscription model where they have way more stuff, more plugins and stuff like that. And yeah, I mean, it's cool. I like it. I like it. I just don't like the monthly payment part, but I don't have a subscription with them. So I just have what I bought at that time before they switched everything over. But the new stuff now, the design and like the sounds that the plugins and different things and just how you navigate around, yeah, it's pretty dope. I like it. It's I mean, yeah, in terms of the collection or whatever. Yeah, pretty dope stuff there. I'm watching tutorials and I've been doing one instrument per group, but I've seen some use different sounds in a group, which is best, or why would I use more than one in a group? That's a good question. So, like what I was saying before, um, in terms of instruments, if you mean like drums in one group, like all your drums in one group versus sounds, like you definitely want to put all like most of your sounds like drums in one group, and then like the bass might be in one group, or bass plural. If you got several bass lines or whatever, or maybe you got one bass line doing something in the verse, and you have another sound, bass sound in the hook or the chorus, then that will be on the same group. Um, but me, I'm more linear. Like when it comes to that, like it just depends. Like you gotta think of it like this: if like in the group, you gotta kind of like foresee what you want to do, like overall, before you start like moving stuff around. So like for instance, if you want to perform effect, use a perform effect thing, then you have to keep that in mind. Like if you want something to do something specific to a perform effect on a specific group, then you may or may not put certain instruments or sounds in a specific group, depending on that alone. Or another effect like a compressor or EQ or reverb or something like that. That's another factor, But most of the times, I'll have a group for all of my key work. Like it'll be the bass, it'll be the keyboard in there, the piano, strings, all that in the same group. And I just mix it down, accordingly. And then I'll have my effects, because that's like totally different, right? My effects will be on its own group, because sometimes I have different effects, and I'll just designate that. So that's my effects. And it makes it easy for me to label everything, because like I showed you guys like how to label stuff like the sings or whatever. You can also label the groups. So I could label my group and say, hey, this is drums. Okay, this is group B is my group B is my drums. Right? And then like my sample, I'll just label that as sample, like at the group level. Right? And this is probably my bells. Right? And if I add anything else bell like with that vibe, maybe like a synth or something, I don't know, I probably will put it in there with bells, you know. But you could do whatever you want. It's just really up to you. But that's how I usually do it. JBs, you said it's on sale now. I don't know. Or if you telling me that, I mean, that's what's up. Um, I may wanna. I don't know. I may want to do something different to the bells. Like, I can. I don't know. Just play with this sound and see what happens. I'm gonna go back to that section and see like what sounds kind of cool. Yeah, yeah. So I add that to the group. So everything is affected by that effect I just put in there. 249. Okay. Is that the machine? Are you saying the machine is 249? So since I don't have anything in A, let's go to arcade. So arcade is one of those things. Of course, I mean group level. So that's another factor. Like you just got to pay attention to what's going on. Machine is very high in advance. Like if you don't really know what you're doing, you can get lost. And this is the reason why I'm doing this because I do know that there's a lot going on. You could definitely get lost in here. But arcade, you definitely need to account. Like if you're wondering how to spend your monthly subscription money, you probably want to do it here. This is one of those things to have because like the inspiration that comes from this thing is crazy. I know nothing in here will fit what I'm doing, but I'm just for the heck of it. Actually sound pretty good. Yeah. So, and I'm paying attention to what I'm doing, right? Like before, like I showed you guys, you want to look, so A, there's no pattern here per se. Well, it's 1 and 2. So that means right here on this scene, I probably want to make that pattern 3. So I can go to patterns and manually put that there. But you got to be selected on that. Let me get back here. Gotta be okay. So I'm on that scene, and I'm gonna go to my patterns, and I'm gonna put a pattern 3 there. So now I also want to make sure my pattern reflects the length, the appropriate length. It looks like that's 4 bars in this entire scene. So my pattern is 4 bars, right? So now let's add. Yeah, so I'm gonna go for that one. Okay, that was too soon. Too soon, too soon. No problem. I'm gonna come here, move it down. Come about right there. Yeah. And this note that's lingering outside, like this note is kind of that's fine. It don't matter. It'll still play. It That's kind of the beauty of how Maschine is designed. It'll still play with no problem. I could do something even like more interesting to this intro. And like I say, you want to keep in mind, you pay attention to what's going on, because like where it say pattern 1 here, it also say pattern 1 here, right? So right here, I want to make that unique. Let's make that unique. So now I want to do something to this pattern right here. I can do something to that. So I want to add a perform effect. Maybe like, let's see. You know what I mean? Something like that. So I'm gonna do. So I'm gonna start right there and show y'all what I'm doing. Okay. So I got my perform effects right there, and I'm gonna be like right here. Like this is where I want the filter to start. So let's just do it again. I'm gonna hold down auto, right? I'm gonna gradually. So I gradually moved in place. All right. So now, as you can see, I started late, which is no problem because I can come here. I could come right here. and just bring that up by pressing that pencil button. Right. So I'm gonna take this pencil here. Well, not the pencil. I'm gonna select that node right there. It's kind of hard to see it. Because it was like a jerk. Let's see if I can get in there. Okay, maybe I can only select it. Oh, never mind. All right. Well, I'm not gonna worry about that. Maybe that's not the problem. I'm gonna click over. I think this is my problem right here. Yeah, this is my problem. So I'm gonna delete. Wait, let me delete this one, that one, that one, that one, that one, and that one. Maybe this one. Okay. Yeah, guys. This is the weird part. Like, this is more advanced stuff right here. Really though, what's up? Where you been, man? The fader port is smooth. So that's the intro part. If I'd have never made that change, that that the filter effect, like coming in from like a low pass filter, going up, opening it up brighter, it would have been in that area as well. Or if I wanted that to be right there, I could definitely go back and change it, like with no problem. Like if that's what I want the same thing right there. I go, you know what? Like I like what I did here in the intro. I want to repeat that right here. Oh, it's no problem. All you have to do is come here, right click on it, and say you can select whatever pattern you want, or you can make that change on the machine itself. Just go to patterns and make that adjustment. So what was that? Pattern one. Boom. Now we can play that area, and here's the filter back. Right. So it's easy to like go back and forth, and that's how machine works. You Everything is based on scenes and patterns. You can easily swap out stuff, go back and forth. Or if I didn't want a pattern there at all, I could just definitely like remove it. You know, no problem. But yeah, that's how it works. Uh, uh, Yeah, peace to you too, man. Appreciate that. Uh, really good job. I appreciate that, DJ. Thanks. Thanks. I appreciate that. Absolutely. All right. Appreciate the thumbs up. Keep them coming. If y'all got more thumbs up, keep them coming. I appreciate it. And subscribe to the channel. Um, we obviously will be doing more of these. I love like interacting with you guys. So yeah. MBF. Yo, I pray all is well. Please help. I'm getting bleeding to my melodies and my 808s is driving me crazy. I can't finish my tracks because of this. So okay, bleed. What do you mean by bleed into your melody? Mean like are you saying like your 808s is like overlapping itself? Is that what you mean? Low ends, you found out that it don't like your fast track pro. I say machine products is best for machine software. That's my opinion. I mean, you could use a regular MIDI keyboard to like trigger the notes or whatever, but like if you want the best performance, I say get Native Instruments products. If you're using machine, of course. Can you send it to me if possible? Yeah, if you know how to send it. 'Cause I don't want you to send it to me and then all of the files are not there. Like there's a way to send it for like collaboration or like sending it to somebody else. You have to actually go to file and save project with samples. Yeah, save project with samples and then like zip that entire folder and you can send that off. I appreciate that, DJ. I have your vote. That's awesome. But yeah, I mean, if you guys want to send me stuff, check out your stuff. I mean, I have no problem with checking it, critiquing it, and giving like my thoughts on what you could approve or whatnot. I'm definitely open to that. Just keep in mind that of course I'll get your permission, but like if I see something in there that's like useful for like streaming about it, like showing to everybody, like okay, I definitely wouldn't put anybody on blast, but it would be like a good tool to teach other people because they might be going through the same thing, and then I could kind of address that or whatever. Plus, it give a chance for people to kind of check you out. So, I mean, if you look at it like that, but if of course if you're not ready for me to do that, then I definitely will keep it confidential. But yeah, I could definitely take a look at your project and see what's going on. So thanks, bro. I was on a creative role and then I ran into this problem. A It happens to the best of all of us. So you're not the only one. I run into those issues as well. Like something just would not work. Like, yeah, it happens to me too. No worries. It's just kind of one of those things that just happens as a creator, you know. You follow my channel and learn a lot from it. I appreciate that, DJ. I really do. I honestly do. Real talk. That's I really I really do appreciate that. Cause it's you guys that I lost something. I lost my video. It's definitely okay. Got it back. Let's see. Let's boost the ISO here. It's getting dark. Yeah, so definitely appreciate you guys, whoever that subscribed. If you're not already, subscribe. If you watching this video and you haven't given me a thumbs up, please do so. Cause it just kind of helps me. You know what I mean? It helps me know that this information was useful and you guys took something away from it. And it's like, oh, okay. It's a lot of people who actually did what I was doing. So give me thumbs up. I appreciate it. Man, my video just keep wanting to leave. Okay, come back, come back, come back. Maybe not. Maybe not. I don't know. It doesn't want to come back. All right, guys. I'm logging off. If you don't have any more questions, I'm gonna get out of here. My video's not coming back, so my camera doesn't want to talk. It doesn't want to play. Native Instruments have 9 expansions for $100 as well. It's well worth it. Sale ends in a few hours. Let me throw that on the screen. So, appreciate that MBF for letting us know. Native Instruments has a sale going right now, and that you definitely want to like cop that before everything runs out, before it's too late. Indeed. All right, J Beats. All right, y'all. All right, so 1 second. Probably need to reconnect something here, but to get off here. Okay, didn't like that either. All right, y'all. Ella from Creative Sound. If y'all have no more questions, I'm gonna get off here. Thanks for your time. I appreciate it, Scrub Master. Hey guys, remember music is art. You the artist. Paint your picture. Stay creative with our rules. And also stay safe out here in this horrible, horrible time. Until next time. I'm gonna drop my email down in here just so in case any of you guys want to send me your projects, I could check it out. Yeah, anytime BMW, anytime. All right, y'all. Y'all get that email if you want to send me something.